Hello everyone, welcome back to Shortcode. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to use KivyMD. It's based on Kivy, but it uses material design. And material design is it's like a way of designing things. So it's what Google uses on all the Android apps. So by making KivyMD apps, your apps will look like they're made for Android. Now, the reason why you would use KivyMD is because it looks a lot nicer than Kivy by default. A normal Kivy app by itself would look like this, whereas a KivyMD app can look like this. It can run on both Android and iOS. Now, to get started, if you have learned Kivy before, it's not necessary to know Kivy before we learn KivyMD, but it does help. I've made a Kivy series before. You can find it somewhere around here. I don't know. But you don't have to watch it, but if you want to watch it, you can do. It might be quite useful. Anyway, first things first, we're going to want to install KivyMD. So to do that, we'll just need to open up a command prompt. So just open up command prompt. And we're going to need to create a project folder where we can work in. So I'm just going to create one. So to make a folder in the command line, you can just type in mkdir and then the folder name. For this, I'll make it KivyMD Tutorial. And then I can go into that folder by typing cd KivyMD Tutorial. So I'm in that folder now, and what we want to do is we want to install a few things. So you want to run this command python-m pip install --upgrade pip setup tools and virtual env. Now these are just a few packages that we need before we install Kivy itself. So if we run that, it's going to say requirement already satisfied because I've already installed it before I started this video. And next thing we want to do is we want to type in python-m virtual env and then the name of the virtual environment. So we are going to be using a virtual environment to install Kivy in. It's basically, you don't really need to know what it is, but it's like an environment, I guess, where you can run Python programs sort of isolated. It doesn't really matter. Just follow along with what I do. So the name of the virtual environment is going to be KivyVenv. It can be called whatever you want, but I'm just going to call it that. So if we hit enter, then a virtual environment will be created for us. And then to activate the virtual environment, you need to type in the name of your virtual environment, which in our case is Kivy_venv, and then type in scripts, /scripts, and then /activate. Now, if you're on Linux, then you'll need to run a different command. You'll need to run source space Kivy_venv /bin/activate. So run this command if you're on Linux, but because we're on Windows, we don't need to do that. And now that we've got our virtual environment set up, we can just install Kivy. So to do that, we do python-m pip install Kivy, and then base with the square brackets and Kivy_examples. And then if you hit enter, then we'll just run through the installation here. It'll take a bit of time, but there we go, we finished it now. So now we need to do python-m pip install KivyMD. So that installs KivyMD. And there we go. So now that we've got KivyMD installed, open up your text editor. So I'm going to be using Sublime Text in this video. You can use whatever text editor you want, but I just like Sublime Text, so I'll be using it. And we just want to make a new file, and I'm going to save it first, and we'll save it into our virtual environment. Find the location of your projects folder. Mine was KivyMD Tutorial, and then just just save a file. I'm going to save it as tutorial1.py. And once we've got that, we can start coding. So first things first, we want to import KivyMD. So to do that, we can type in from KivyMD.app import MD app. Now, if you've used Kivy before, you'll know to import the app class, which is what we're doing here, we just type in from Kivy.app import app, like that. But because we're using KivyMD, it'll be from KivyMD, and then the class that we're importing is called MD app. Now, the app class, it's basically just the main sort of class that it's basically the main class in KivyMD that every Kivy program requires. So before you do anything in Kivy, you need to import the app class, and then from there we can type in class my app. So this is the main class of your app, and it inherits from MD app. And then from there we can create a build method and self, and then we can just return. And then we do my app.run. So just to explain what's going on here, we're importing the MD app, which is the main app, which is like the main class for every Kivy project uses. And then we're creating our own class, which inherits from the MD app. And now this build method, it's like the main, it's the main method in your build class. So when you run your Kivy program, this method is what's going to be called, and we just need to return. We just need to return nothing at the moment. And then we instantiate the my app, and then we do .run, which calls the build method. Now, if we run the program just like this, you see we get unable to get a window abort. Now, this is because we're not running it in the virtual environment. Now, to run it in the virtual environment, you need to go back into your terminal, into the command prompt, and then type in Python, and then the name of your program, which was, for me, was tutorial1.py. And make sure you are still in the project folder where your Python file was located. If we hit enter, then we'll get our little Kivy program. Now, at the moment, nothing is on it because in the code we just returned nothing, so therefore nothing will be displayed on the screen. Let's get some text appearing on the screen. So to do that, we can just do from KivyMD.uix.label import label, import MD label, and then we can return an MD label with a text of hello world. If we just run the same command again, then this time we'll get some text saying hello world. So the main build method in Kivy, it returns one widget. Everything in Kivy is a widget. So the MD label here, it's a widget. The app itself is actually a widget. We have other widgets like buttons, lists, certain kinds of layouts, certain menus as well are all widgets. And the build method returns just one widget. And that widget that it returns is the root widget. And in this case, the label that we've returned is the root widget. It might be a little bit hard to understand at the moment, but as you make more Kivy programs, it'll become a lot easier to understand. So basically, just to go through it one more time, we're importing the app and the label from KivyMD. Then we're creating a class that inherits from the MD app. We've got a method called build, and this returns one root widget. And then we are running the app, and when we run the app, we get some text saying hello world. Now in the next video we're going to learn a little bit more about KivyMD. We'll cover a couple more widgets like some buttons. We'll make our app look a lot nicer because at the moment it looks pretty ugly. If you have any questions or comments about Kivy or KivyMD, just leave a comment down below. I will reply to you. Other than that, that's it from me. Cheers and goodbye.